Hello everyone, welcome to a new Cube video. My name is Pavel Savianko and today I show you how to change color map in the CubeGUI. Let's do it. So we're back into our terminal and today I would like to present you color map feature of CubeGUI, where one finds it and for what it is useful and how one can configure it and perhaps even implement our own color map. So very first, let's start the cube and open an example of some cube file, like for example this one. It's typical result of the measurement. Here we have a metric tree, call tree, and system tree as usual, and here down we see the rainbow, and that is the color map what we are talking about. So this is basically mapping of the values in the trees from the minimal to maximum value on a range of 0 to 1, and within this range one uses this color map to color this small dinglet square next to the value itself to visualize its absolute value, basically how far it is from maximum or from minimum. Like in this color map, the minimal value is colored blue and the maximal value is colored red. It is basically like a heating spectrum. So the high values are really hot, so they are red, and the low values are blue, although in astronomy it might be completely opposite. Anyway, that is the color map, and it is being used in a tree and also here down in a value widget. So if we select some value, it is displayed as a range from 0 to max. So one can basically visually have a feeling how large is some value. Like for example, this is 70% of the maximal value in this tree. Okay, so before we proceed, I just want to mention is that this color map is implemented as a type of plugin and is available for extension, own implementation, and one can implement own completely wild color map procedure and install it together with another plugins and then use in CubeGUI. We of course provide example how to do it, so let's take a look. If I open another terminal, one finds example of color map in directory share doc CubeGUI examples GUI. There are various different examples of plugins. So one of this plugin color map, and one can take a look on this example, like for example color map plugin H. And here is the source code, so one can take it as a template and implement own color map. We provide two color maps plugins basically in the CubeGUI. That is this default color map, that is basically this rainbow, and advanced color map. We provide another color maps which are useful maybe in another context. So of course also this standard rainbow can be configured, can be tweaked, and this is one does in the menu edit color map. So if we select it, we see that our color map and it is defined by 5 values. So the color map starts from 0 value, or in this case it's minimal value, ends by 1. So we basically map the range of minimum maximum values from the tree in the range of 0 to 1, and then color it according to this mapping. And this color map is defined by three another values, cyan, green, and yellow, and their position in this mapping. So, for example, the cyan starts by 0.018, green by 43%, and by yellow by 55%. And this, of course, one can adjust. So we can move, for example, cyan value, we can move also yellow value, we can make this middle range very wide. So if we would like to distinguish really extreme values from some average value, or opposite, we can make average value really narrow and have basically bicolored rainbow, where the blue range is displaying the values under the half, in this case, and the reddish are above the half. We can, of course, move it towards the 30%, for example, and visualize it in this way. That helps user to optically distinguish the different ranges of values in the trees. We can also limit the coloring range, like for example, like this, by defining that our coloring starts by, let's say, 20% here, and it ends by 70. So we're not interested in values which are under 20% or higher than 70%. We're interested only in these values, and we can tweak a little bit of this gradient, and in this way we see the values outside of this range are grayed out. They are optically not they're not jumping into eyes, and we see the values which are within the range. It might be useful for some specific analysis or as a help to highlight specific values. And of course, these gradients between these values are defined by this mapping mechanism. So it can be linear, it can be quadratic with different power, or exponential with different power. It is a little tweak which helps to highlight these are low value or high values. Of course, we have here two additional values, like for example, we can define that we display as a white value, like here, everything what is, for example, under 30%, like this, and this value is displayed white, even if it is non-zero. So in this way we suppress basically lower values. Okay, so that is how one can configure standard rainbow. In 90% cases it is sufficient, but there are another 10% cases it might be our advanced color map would serve exactly this 10%. Before I go to advanced color map, I would like to remind you to subscribe, to give us comment if you have some questions to this color map mechanism, and of course press a like. Okay, so let's take a look on our advanced color map. So we can select it as a coloring mechanism or coloring map, and we see that the coloring map has changed. So in this case, I already pre-selected that is such a fire rainbow, fire gradient, starting from 0, very dark, and ending very yellow as a gradient from 0 to yellow via red. So it's like a fire, and it highlights basically the value in its absolute value as a kind of flame. So one can configure, of course, also this color map, and if one selects, one sees here is that so-called improved rainbow. So if we select this drop-down menu, we see that we have 4 different coloring maps or selections. So let's take a look first on the first one, sequential. So that is basically gradient from very, very dark to very, very bright value for some specific color. This color we can select here, so we offer blue, green, grayscale, orange, purple, or red. Grayscale is useful, for example, maybe some monochromic printer, and another colors are it is a matter of basically taste what one would like to use. And of course position of the middle value can be moved in the very beginning of gradient or the very end of gradient. So in this way one can define how fast the gradient is going from 0 to 1. And of course one can choose a little bit whether it is going linear or exponential. It's a small tweak. Okay, so that is the sequential basically gradient. It allows to visualize the lower values and the higher values in the trees. Like here, for example, we see these are other lower values, and the white, the higher value. Disadvantage, of course, of this coloring is that 0 value, which is displayed as a white, is optically falling displayed identically like highest value in the tree. So it's probably useful only for the scenario where one doesn't have 0 value. Yeah. Okay. And so for this purpose, probably this gradient is less optimal. So let's take a look on another color map. So like, for example, divergent, that's basically bidirectional gradient which goes from 0 to 1 with color via the middle position, which is like white. So this color map helps user to display deviation of the values from, for example, the median one. So like here we see that the most colored values are extreme one, except of 0. This coloring is useful if one has applied cube tool, CubeDiff, and one would like to visualize deviation from 0 or from some specific value. Okay, the third color map which we offer is a cube helix. This is some specific special color map. It has properties that it has constant increase on the intensity of color, and it transforms into grayscale if one prints monochromatic, and one has here controls over these parameters, number of rotations. Like, for example, if we put here 2, we see that it is doing more color changes, and it's coming from astronomy and might be useful in some situation. And then we have selection of improved so-called rainbows, where we offer the list of already preset rainbows. Like, for example, constant lightness, it's defined like this, or it is full hue circle, so starting from pink, ending from pink, or diverging scheme, like from dark via white and then back to dark, so it highlights the 75 and 25 quantiles and so on. So one should go through these rainbows, and for specific purposes one can select some specific one. So these are basically the advanced rainbows which Cube offers together with standard distribution. if one needs some specific coloring scheme which goes beyond this range, so one can always implement own color map as a plugin, install it, and make Cube aware of its location using, for example, this our plugin search path, which I explained in one of the previous videos, and then one has own custom color map. I hope you like this video, and now you understand how one can configure the coloring in the CubeGUI, and press subscribe, press a like, write a comment or question if you have any, and see you next time.